Hi, I'm Dr. Tempest McDonald, and I was asked recently about what's the difference between therapy and neurodiversity affirming therapy. And I think this is a really important question, so I wanted to take time and answer that. So, typically, therapy is fine, it's great. But some of the issues that can happen if a person is neurodivergent is that they are having a really different experience from non or people who are less neurodivergent. So if you're looking at someone who might be on the autism spectrum or someone with ADHD, even someone with a biological condition that creates neurodivergence, like hypermobility joint syndrome or Ehlers-Danlos, for example, chronic health conditions, trauma. The issue that these individuals experience when they come into therapy sometimes is that their natural ways of being, which are really marginalized by society in some way or another, actually ends up being marginalized in the therapy setting. And these are individuals where they've tried a lot of different things, but many of the things they're being asked to try is in some ways being told, be less autistic. Don't be a person with ADHD. Don't be hypermobile. Be less of the person that you are, because the person that you are is causing you problems. And what's really happening for neurodivergent people is that their natural ways of being are not being supported within the environments that they find themselves in. And so they've tried being less of something or more of another thing, or some part of them that's different from the way that they are, and they're experiencing things like it's still not working, or even if it is working, I am running into burnout. I'm going into overdrive, trying to constantly mask my natural ways of being. So for neurodivergent people, they need a therapist that can say, okay, here, let's identify your natural ways of being. These are your natural ways of being. Some of this is flexible, some of this is not. Here are the range of expectations. Here are the range of expectations that are in the environment. Here are your goals. How do we interact with these different environments and these different goals and negotiate what it means to be neurodivergent within those spaces? And so part of that is really knowing what your own boundaries and your own limits are. Part of that is engaging in conflict management, relationship building, so that when you're interacting with people, they have a better understanding of what you need, what you can offer, where those boundaries are, and why this is going to work or not work. And in this way, we start to work together to build capacity, because we're always growing and changing. Neurodivergent people, non-neurodivergent people, we're always growing, we're always changing. But engaging in capacity building for ourselves, engaging in this relationship building and deepening with other people so that we can negotiate that conflict between the expectations of environments and what we're able to actually do, what we're able to offer, and how we're able to grow within those situations. So a big part of that sometimes can be really identifying goals, adjusting goals, identifying maybe whole new sets of goals, maybe new directions. And so it's a journey and it's a process. But the big part of what makes it neurodiversity affirming is that you're not the problem. You are a person that's experiencing a set of circumstances that can be problematic, but you're not the problem. And the problem is in the dynamic. The problem is in the whole system that you're in that isn't quite working with the systems that you have. And that negotiation is real and requires someone who has a deep understanding of neurodevelopmental conditions, as well as an understanding of systems, that are at every single level. And so, this is why having a neurodiversity affirming therapist is central to being able to make progress with your internal and your external conflicts and being able to move forward towards the life that you really want.